All right. So, man, who's my giant in my life? I have so many that I could list. So I guess I got to really think of one, right? I mean, from jiu-jitsu, I have, so many guys to look up to. Professor Dracolino has been a guy that was there for me during the good times and bad times. And in the military, I can think of hundreds of guys to look up to. In my family, I think the people I look up most to in my family are my sons. But if I can think of one giant in my life that stands out to, making me every day wake up and want to be a better man, a better husband, a better father, it's a man named Steve Toth, who never did jiu-jitsu. He didn't serve in the military. He's from right here where we are right now in the Woodlands, Texas. He was, I met him. He owned a small pool business, and he stepped into my life when I was at the world might have looked at my life and thought I was like at the top of my life, but people that knew me best knew that I was at the rock bottom of my life. I was, for those who know my story, I came home from my last deployment from Afghanistan, opened the Gracie Barra Woodlands here in Texas, and started fighting full-time as a professional fighter. Had a lot of great accolades, but during that same time of those successes was a very dark time in my life, dealing with Afghanistan, dealing with infidelity, anger issues, depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and facing a divorce, and ultimately facing a struggle with taking my own life. We're right here in Conroe. I remember being right there at 1488 in my apartment, trying to make a decision whether I want to live or die, battling with sticking a pistol in my mouth. It was a very, very dark time in my life. A few guys that are, Chris, and most many of the guys that were there for me, but I chose to isolate myself. And it was my wife that came to me in my apartment and challenged me with that life-changing question. She asked me how I could do, the things I did in the military, being a 4th Recon Marine, going to Afghanistan, how I could do the things I did in MMA and jiu-jitsu, all those personal achievements, how I could do all those things. It came to my family that I quit. And that question for me drove me, kind of painted me in a corner to have to make a choice. Then that choice was to get back in the fight, but I didn't know how. I was training full-time at the MMA gym, had a lot of students and a lot of friends, but I didn't have anybody that could really, that I had, could lean on to fight for the most important fight in my life, and that was to be a husband, again, be a father, and be someone that actually wanted to live and have a future. And, I can't blame anybody in my gym for not helping me. It was really me that had put myself in a position, no accountability, a position where I surrounded myself with people that told me everything I wanted to hear, not what I needed to hear. And so I had to step outside that circle. And I asked my wife if there was someone at this church she was going to at the time, because she was really committed at a Woods Edge church. I asked if there was someone at this church who could help me hold myself accountable to making this change in my life. And she introduced me to this man, Steve Toth. Again, Steve didn't serve in the military. He wasn't an MMA fighter, small local business owner. But the man is probably one of the most courageous men I know, and the man that was able to tell me the hard things when I didn't want to hear them. And he sat down across from him right there in the Woodlands at Starbucks, and I had a plan of how I was going to fix my life. I was being very manipulative. I was saying all the right things, and Steve wasn't going to let me manipulate him. He told me, hey, this plan you have, I had written on paper, he said, you're going to fail. And, everyone in my life at the time told me whatever I wanted to hear. But here's this guy telling me that I'm going to fail. And he told me if I didn't have God in the middle of this plan, that I was going to get back on my back and right in the same position again. He wasn't going to waste his time on me. He wasn't going to let me waste my time. And, it was kind of one of those questions I ask people. I get to help now. If what you're doing isn't working, then why not try something different? And it was time for me to try something different. And so I gave this guy, Steve, a chance. And Steve didn't only lead me into a relationship with God, but he mentored me for a full year in biblical manhood. And when I say he mentored me, I mean, when he told me all the right things, gave me all the good counsel, and a few hours later I was at home trying to decide, whether I had the strength to stick into it or not. He was at my house at 2 a.m. And the man stood in the gap for me for a whole year and literally saved my life. When I got on the other side of that, I knew there was nothing else I could do in my life to repay him than to pay that forward to other people. And every day that I wake up and get the opportunity to do the work that I do now at Mighty Oaks for veterans, I want to just emulate Steve Toth and what he did for me and pay that forward. That willingness to take stubborn people that don't know whether they want to live or die, don't know if they want to be a husband, a father, if they want to be the men that they are capable of being. And it was, it was him that gave me the model of how to fight for other people and lead them through the dark times. And so I look up to him. When I try to find a friend in life, I look for the attributes in a new friend, the attributes of Steve Toth. When I look at who I want to be, I look at the attributes of Steve Toth. When I look at who I want my sons to be and how I mentor and raise my sons, how I encourage friends to be, it's the model of the man that Steve Toth is. And I always look. Man doesn't have any perfection. You look at God for perfection, but if there's perfection in this world amongst men, Steve Toth's the man I look up to the most, and he's definitely a giant in my life, and I'll be forever grateful the rest of my life for him.